All right, we are doing a little recording video here for the real estate marketplace team for Brent. Once again, if anybody from the team ends up watching this, I'm not Brent, I'm filling in. So yeah. We're good to go. I'm going to pause the video and mute for just a couple of minutes while we wait for folks to show up. We'll be back. Hello.
Hey, how are you? Devin, right?
Yes, indeed. Yep. I'm just making a couple of little notes here while we wait for everybody to get on, and then we'll get started.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay,
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello, hello. We are ready to get started, I believe. And
Well, I clicked on my Zoom invite, and I guess Brent had put one in before, so I was sitting waiting, and then realized that I was in the previous one.
oh,
So,
sorry about that.
oh, it's okay. It just dawned on me that I remembered he sent one out for you as well.
Yeah, very good. All right. So we've got Amy, we've got Andrew. All right. So we're waiting on Scott.
Laura. No, Scott's not been participating. I think he's going to try to do the night one that you're going to be doing in
Okay.
April. So
Beautiful. Yeah.
He's a superintendent for a construction company, so he's in the field all day. So it's hard for him to keep up with it. I think the only one else would be Laura.
All right. Well,
Bobby?
Hey,
Bobby's on there.
Okay.
you just don't see me, do you?
Well, there you are.
I'm like stealth.
excellent, excellent. All right. Do you guys, again, this is, since y'all were with Brent, I don't know exactly how he does this here. He just gave me a couple of notes. Does he have you report the tracking numbers, or do you put them in the chat, or how does he collect that data from you?
He just has you report it real quick.
Okay.
We were doing it CTE, but then I guess that went away. So
Oh,
now we
yeah.
just-
Yeah, that was a big disaster on our end, the way that ended up working out. So awesome. All right. Well, then who wants to go first real quick with some contacts and some notes and some all that good stuff? You want me to just run through each one of you here? And ask you, or what's easiest for you?
Either
Go ahead,
way.
Amy.
Yeah,
Uh,
Amy, me going.
All right, ladies first. Amy, go ahead.
Okay.
Contacts this week?
Didn't tell you I'm a slacker.
You can just so you can just say yes or no for these first ones,
Okay.
and then any numbers for that. So contacts,
Yes.
yes. Core advocates lunches or coffees?
Nope, not last week. Nope.
No. Any live videos?
No.
No. Handwritten notes,
No.
scripts.
I'm gonna go with a no.
All right. Now these numbers, if you have any, just however many buyer appointments.
Yeah, I had I believe 2.
2. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Any agency agreement signed?
We don't do those.
We don't really have
Oh, you
those
don't?
here.
Okay.
We don't.
All right. Well, then I won't ask about those. Any contracts written?
So I listed a house and I did get a buyer contract
Wonderful.
and and then I have one out for review currently.
Okay. So one listing written or gotten, how many appointments did you have?
Listing appointments?
Just the one?
I think so. I think so.
Hey, that's 100%. That's a good percentage. Any closings?
Not last week.
Nope. All right. Very good. All right, Mr. Andrew.
Bobby.
Oh, Bobby. Sorry. Well, that's why I was not figuring out who was on here. Okay, very good. Sorry about that. All right. Contacts.
Yes,
Wonderful. Coffee or lunches with core advocates.
did.
Wonderful. Any live videos?
So I did a live video of a buyer going into their house, but I incorporated that. So I don't know if it was alive or not. I did it and then posted like immediately afterwards
Yeah.
as a
We
collage.
did a video that wasn't live. It didn't do the notification of a live video.
Oh, it
But it
didn't
did do a
notification.
video. I did see it. Look good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
I
you
had
can.
people tell me they like that video too.
Well, we've discussed that with Brent before, and he said it didn't count because, like, both of them do videos of things a lot, but not the live where it does that notification.
And see, to me, I get the same effect. I thought the effect is the same for my friends on Facebook.
Yeah, well, if
I
Brent
don't
says no, then I'm going to have to go no. But for me personally, if you're posting it right away, I mean, if you're editing it and coming back, that's different.
No, it was live. It was like bam, bam.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
I just made a collage.
I
of
would
that with
count that
pictures.
if it were me. So, all right.
Right.
We'll
Like, I
say
did a
no, but
video.
I'm counting it. What'd you say, Andy?
I said, now Amy's like, I did a video too.
He does
But that
videos.
counts.
There
Yeah,
you
That's
go.
right.
Handwritten
You
notes.
should get like half credits for those.
Yeah. You got to
Okay.
see.
Try to see. To be modest. It's like
And notes?
anything. Notes. Yes, actually, I did get those last week.
All right. And any script practice.
Not all. No, I really did just one last week. It was
All right.
off.
Any buyer appointments.
2.
Wonderful. Any contracts written.
No contract written.
Okay. Any listing appointments or listings taken.
No, I'm counting the listing appointment for next week because I'm going to actually go to their house next week. So we'll do that next
All
week.
right. Any
And
closing.
then one closing
Wonderful.
on a buyer from
Okay.
the video.
That would make sense. That would make
Yeah.
sense. Does he have you guys record the volume too, or not? It's on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay,
he does. When we
Yeah,
have
What
a
is
we'll
close,
do it.
CT? Okay.
Yeah, it was
All right.
155.
150.
What a huge one! But
Okay.
I've
They
got 2
all
tomorrow.
add- They all add
Hopefully.
up. They all
Yeah.
add up. All right. And then, boss, are you reporting too or no?
No.
All right. Very good. Well, now that we got that part out of the way, obviously I'm not Brent. He's got the more sultry voice than I do. But I'm Devin. I'm an agent up in Northern Kentucky, just outside of Cincinnati, and also obviously part of the locker room. I'm one of the impact coaches, and so I'm filling in. I think this weekend, next week for him with you guys.
Yeah.
And so looks like we're finishing out, right? Today's week 11, next week's week 12.
Yeah. Next Monday will be the last one of this, and then I'm notifying all the agents about the one you're starting on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 9 a.m. Eastern time or 10 a.m.?
Yeah, so we have two different times and it's going to be,
Sick.
I'm not teaching both of them, but we have people
Okay.
that'll be in both, and we're going to be kind of working together. So 9 a.m. Central or 5 p.m. Central,
So 10
either time.
a.m.
It's going to be the same Facebook group, and so anybody that you want in there, you can let me know, and we'll put them in the group, or you can let Brent know. I'm not exactly sure when he gets back, so if you let him know, let me know too, just to make sure we get him in. But yeah, and it'll be on kitzoom.com. I can send you that information. What is your email? And I'll send that to you, sir.
It's andrew@re-mp.com. And I think I grabbed a social media post y'all did that had the details in it.
Okay, cool. I'll just follow up with that as well. So you have the Zoom link information, the times and all that good stuff. But yeah, that'll be the 26th that we'll be launching that out. And again, it's open, so anybody is welcome to come and jump in and be a part of that. So I'm guessing you guys got people beyond what's here with us in the group.
Yeah, there's 18 agents.
Awesome.
Several of them have jobs and stuff, and I don't know if the 2 o'clock is just not working for them, but a lot of them said they wanted to do it. So hopefully maybe with the different times, it'll allow them to do it.
Did you say that's 9 and 5 Central or
Be
Eastern?
10 Eastern and 6 Eastern.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Eastern too, but everybody else seems to be Central
And
time.
you're in
So-
Northern Kentucky?
Yep, just outside of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yep.
And 6.
So, and the other thing with that is we do record those sessions, at least the morning ones for sure, because I run those, and we post the link for the recording into the Facebook group. So if you have people that are dual career that they absolutely can't be there, have them make sure that they let us know. We get them into the Facebook group, and so then they can still do all of the track, because obviously the videos and everything in the course are on demand, and then they can still go. They won't be able to participate in the discussion themselves, but at least they can hear the discussion, the tips and the guidance and all that good stuff. So it's a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, any questions from you guys? This is a little bit different than the way that I normally do it. And obviously I haven't been with you. So before I just jump into anything, what do you have that you have questions about or need, or anything that stood out to you over the stuff that you've been doing the last week or so? Nothing specific. All right, that's fine.
We watched the video with Cooley. Is that his name?
Okay. Cooley. I don't remember.
The 60-minute one, the long one.
The interview.
Yeah. About
Mhm.
market, and it just a good reminder that we really need to know our numbers and inventory and just how much there is to know. So it was good.
He's got an interesting mind. I mean, to be able to talk to somebody on an airplane and be like, "This is the house that you live in," that would freak me out a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, I try and know my market, but I don't know that I could ever be that. There's 800 homes just in my neighborhood. I don't know that I could know all of them.
I know, but at least, how important it is from a perception standpoint for your client. At least, think that you know. And I just thought it was good. I went ahead and followed him on social media, and he's interesting. But it was a little weird that he did a plug for Keller Williams, but because he did his down, he talked about that. But it was good.
Well, again, we try and remain brand neutral, but there's a lot of KW people that are part of the locker room. So we love everybody. We
Sure.
are all inclusive. So how about this? Any wins from you guys last week that we can celebrate together? Anything going, really well, really right?
Everything's
Nothing.
good. I got in from
Nothing.
California, and she's gonna send her kids to me, and I met them all, and they're all like, "We're gonna buy houses." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, so this week again is really about knowing the market. I'm guessing none of the three of you are brand new agents, right?
Yeah, we're old.
20
20
so.
plus.
Wonderful. Well, so you guys understand then the importance of knowing your market and different sources. Obviously, being aware of what's happening in our MLS specifically. But one of the things that we discussed in the group that just ended, I had 30 agents. Most of them are newer in that group. Is the fact that a lot of the times they're working with people that are coming to them. They're looking on Zillow, they're looking on Trulia, all those sorts of things, right? And that's not ever really gonna probably stop in the near future. 186 million homes are looked at on Zillow every year. Every second, there's 172 houses that are looked at on Zillow. So, that's a lot of content that they are getting data on. They're drawing people in. The thing that we talked about with that group is really just how do we help get those people off of there and looking at our stuff and trusting us. So I guess since you guys are all a little bit more seasoned, let's have that discussion all about. Do you do mostly sphere and referral based stuff, or are you doing a lot of lead generating?
A lot
Mine
of
is almost all that, which needs to transition more, but that's the foundation for me.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's, almost all of my business now is I'm down to about 60% that are leads versus 40% that are repeat and referral. But when I started in my market here, I'm a pastor as well. I'm not actively pastoring now. My church closed through COVID. But when I was doing both, I pastored a small church and I was new and I wasn't from this area. So I didn't have a sphere. There's no family here. The first people that sold the house in my church left so that I wouldn't have to know their financial information, which of course we know is not how that works as an agent. So a lot of it for me was lead generation, going out and getting leads, open houses, working online leads and all that. And so, I've used Zillow, I've used Sync, I've used Bold Leads, I've used, I do all of it. That's kind of my focus within the locker room is lead gen and conversion. Because as I developed that system, the national average is 1 to 3%, depending on who you talk to, of online leads converting. The last 3 years, I'm converting more at like 17%. So, as you get to that stage and we get more and more, that's how you build in the referral business, right? And the repeat business. And I love it when people are in the Facebook groups, like the real estate mastermind group, y'all in that group, and the lab code agents, stuff like that. People are like, oh, I don't do any online leads. I've been in the business 27 years. Okay. There weren't online leads 27 years ago. I'll give you that. But you did not start off with all referral-based business. I promise you, you did not. So, as we're taking in these leads, do you get a lot of people that are coming in that they send you links from Zillow or Trulia or those sorts of realtor.com of stuff that they've looked at?
Oh yeah, a lot of them use Zillow for just general searching. Even if they're, when they're getting the emails, they still like to look at Zillow.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
particularly relocation was, I had a couple of people relocate from Texas, different places, and they use Zillow a lot for looking here. Because, well, a couple of them were outside of our MLS, so they were open to everywhere.
Sure.
So I've kind of helped. It's kind of helped me learn how to integrate talking about Zillow, compare with ours, and then the benefit of still having the agent doing it and call, like they would send me their Zillow question, and I would contact the agent. So I kind of train them to don't just call everybody, because they're going to call you and swamp you, and they're not your agent if I'm your agent. So let me be your agent and call them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's a conversation that you have to have very early on and be very direct about, because most people don't understand how that works, right?
A couple kept doing it. I'm like, stop doing that. Like it confuses everybody.
I mean, I've encountered people, and these are people that they have good jobs, they make good money. They're not stupid, but they think like we're all just one big happy family. And if they talk to you or talk to me, everybody's
Right.
getting paid. And I'm like, sure, we like each other, but that's not how that works.
Right.
And so I don't want to be over here running around doing all this work for you and then find out that somebody else is running around doing all this work for you too. And now we gotta, have
Well,
a
it's about
knife
setting
fight.
expectations that's
Yes.
to that buyer's benefit. If they confuse another agent who thinks they're going to be working with them and they're not,
Mhm.
when I call them, they're confused, and that just sets a bad dynamic up.
Mhm.
So,
So how do you turn them? Like, what are you doing in your conversations with them
I
to
explain
turn
that.
them towards you or towards your information versus, going to other people?
I explain that's it's about expectations, and that if you're just like me, if you see something on Zillow that you haven't seen on the MLS or that I've sent you, call me. Just like you used to talk to for sub owner, don't call for sub owner, call me. It's the same conversation. You got to set that expectation.
Mhm.
If you call them, it's going to confuse that agent, potentially that seller. Whereas if I make your introduction of why you're interested in that house and why, I'm calling you, then it goes a lot smoother if we move towards that house.
Mhm.
So just about, to me, it's the same conversation you'd have with an expired person or invisible. You set the expectation that keep it simple through me.
Yeah.
If you want me to be your agent. If you don't, you just want to work with everybody, then you're going to find chaos. So,
Mhm. Mhm. And again, everybody does it a little bit differently, but I am very clear with people that, if you are going to be talking to multiple people, I obviously can't stop you from that, but here's the level you're getting from me if I know that versus the
Right.
level you're getting from me if I know that you're working with me.
right.
Right. Because if I'm going to be out there doing that amount of work, I want some level of commitment back. And I think that's fair. But with that, in terms of knowing the market, first of all, what is everybody's number one commodity?
Number one commodity.
Yeah. What is your clients or your potential clients' number one commodity?
You're saying like service?
Well,
It's time.
it's time. Yeah, time's everyone's, no matter what it is. Yeah.
Right. So, the thing for me in starting there is, why are you wasting your time looking on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Trulia, when I, as your agent, this is my job. I know the market. I know what you're looking for. So if we're having a conversation and you're telling me what it is you're looking for, then let me save you time, energy, stress, and be the one out there looking for it. And I'm going to look at the for sale by owners. I'm going to look at the new listings. I'm going to look at the stuff that's back on the market. In this market, I'm even going to look at the stuff that's been pending for a while and maybe reach out to some agents and be like, hey, is this closing or not? Right.
But Dan, I found it fighting against them doing that. Practically, they're still going to do it.
They are.
And so it's to yeah, they're still going to do it. And honestly, some things, a lot of buyers are willing to stretch out of what they first tell you they're willing to look at, and they'll go to counties outside our MLS.
Mhm.
And so if I tell them I'm going to watch for that and I miss one, I'm not sure I can cover everybody every time all over a multiple region when there's 3 or 4 of them. So honestly, I find it helpful. If they want to do that, go for it. Just call me when you find one.
I'm the same. Like, I mean, if you see anything online on Zillow or any site, just let me know and I can set up a showing for you. So
Right.
I just embrace
It's
it.
MLS structure too there. We just
You know,
can't.
they're
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So where are you guys located exactly?
Louisville.
Louisville. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm up here in
We're
Northern
just down the road.
Kentucky. So we've got the same problem, right?
Yeah.
You get people that they're looking in, let's say they're looking in Paris.
Right.
Well, where does that show up? It can show up one of 3 places, really, depending on
There's 3 MLSs for Paris.
Williamstown all the time. I actually had somebody on Zillow the other day that they were looking at something in Covington. I couldn't find
Yeah.
it. It was a
Yeah.
Lexington agent that had it listed.
And Beargrass and I mean, you get down into Central and Somerset area, you
Mhm.
get 2 or 3 MLSs overlapping there that we will never probably get into ours.
Yeah.
And so and buyers are looking, particularly they're looking for land, they're looking outside of our MLS. So that's what the point is, that instead of fighting it, we just have to accept their expectation of why it's to their benefit to just call us back and let us know what they're seeing if we haven't seen it already.
So how are you then? Are you just relying on them then to come to you with those sorts of things, or are you going out
No,
and
we still
looking
search.
in the other areas as
Yeah,
well?
we still search, but I just don't want to set the expectation. I'm going to cover the whole area, and then I don't, or I don't see it, or they beat me to it because they're going to be on there anyway. So it's
Well,
just really,
they're gonna get on Zillow no matter what you tell them. So just
Yeah.
tell them that if you're searching out there and you find something, send it to me and I'll get it set up.
Yeah.
Like there's no problem. If you find it, just send it over and I'll get all the information for you.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna get on there. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
So with
let
that,
me research the property a little bit and let me get a little headway with you on it before to know what we're looking at here.
but you
absolutely.
just want to make sure the expectation is that if it's on there, you can help them still, even though it
Right.
tells them to call this premier super duper buying agent.
So how do you get around that? If you
Well,
do you guys buy leads off of Zillow or not?
Well, and that's what the best way to do it is if you click, those people purchase your business.
Yeah.
And if you want somebody that has the experience and knowledge to have their own business, then you can stay with me. But if you just want somebody that has to buy business,
Mhm.
that's the quality there.
Well, but here's the thing though, if you know that people are looking on Zillow and you're letting them look on Zillow, and just saying, hey, call me. If you filled out your Premier profile, you don't have to buy anything. The profile is free. Okay. You can have them select you in Zillow as your agent, and you're the only agent that'll show up for them.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
Is it paid service? You pay Zillow?
So you can do it if you are paying and they get sent to you, then Zillow connects them to you for either 60 or 90 days. But if they select you as their agent, like your profile is set up and you don't have to fill it all out. Yeah. So your profile is set up, it's for a year. If they indicate that you are their agent. All right. So
How do they indicate that in their profile?
If
I've never heard
they can select you as the agent that they are working with, or if you have, so again, that's why you've got to have your profile set up at least enough to where you're there in the system.
Yeah.
But that's free. That's free for you to do, and you can do that. And then I don't know without paying if they let you invite people. I know as a paid agent, you can do that and invite them, and they can click it. But if they select you as their agent, then they are locked into where everything that they look at, whether it's buying, selling, whatever, even for sale by owner stuff, you are the only agent that shows up for them. So that lessens the chance that they accidentally click on something and call somebody else, or, oh, I don't want to bother Bobby today because I know Bobby's busy golfing or taking the day off, or I just talked to him yesterday, so I'll just call and ask my question, because that's something to think about. Taking the time, because that does not cost you anything.
I've never heard that. I'll have to look into it. Because then you can just say, go ahead and pick me so you won't get on their calling list and their telemarketing list. And most people say, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So
The buyers they get called, they get really tired of it quick if they're working with an agent.
Right.
And there's some places where if you're paying for the lead, there may be a benefit because somebody relocating, you just kind of Google's on and find somebody. But yeah, it's I can see some benefit for some buying, but at the same time, it's keeping yours with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Embrace it.
What'd you say?
I said it's here. We need to embrace it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm done fighting it, but well, Zillow does make some errors.
Fortunately, they've got better technicians than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we just went through trying to replace showing time after the purchase, and we tried out everything there was, went through 15 different companies, and ended up signing a 3-year agreement with showing time because they have the tools. And either we can compete with them with that tool, or we can compete with them with the inferior tool. And So, you know, it's not going to be popular by some people, but that's what our decision was.
Mhm, mhm. So do you guys work with a lot of people that are looking at for sale by owners right now? Just because of the low inventory?
Sure. I mean, I don't have anyone currently, but that's how I built my business, was working with for sale by owners and prospecting them. But
Mhm.
I mean, they're on Facebook and
Right.
goodness, I mean,
Mhm.
just but I mean, yeah, I mean, we embrace it. We're fully aware of it.
Mhm.
No.
That's
But
a whole new dynamic, isn't it? The Facebook Marketplace stuff and having people show up there, and they're sometimes they're not even on Zillow.
no,
Oh, no, they'll just put on their thread. I ain't market, they'll just put on the thread. I ain't gonna sell a house anywhere.
Which is so funny because I put a house on mine that I'm getting ready to list, and I got a notice of violation from the MLS because I didn't have the paperwork in yet. I'm like, really? Really? So, you know, yeah, we have Flex up here. I don't know what you guys have.
Yeah, we've had it. Yeah.
You know,
You
so
all-
we just switched over to it. I was part of that team that looked at Flex versus Paragon, and we looked at a few others.
I was 10 years ago, and I still, people are like, why do we lease all of ours? Well, because they're closed. I mean, there's no other option out there. It's the best option.
Yeah, I mean, Paragon was much worse than
Yeah.
Flex.
Bad.
We looked at all of them. I mean, yeah,
So-
and that's why I say, unfortunately, Zillow has better technicians than
Right.
this side of the industry. And I don't know why we can't figure that out.
But what's made it nicer with Flex is because you guys have it as well. Now with the data co-op, you know,
Right.
I can still look up stuff where before I had to go to Zillow, right, and look up something if it was, you know, in your area or too far south, like Cynthiana and things like Georgetown and stuff like that. And now I can at least see it, right? So that's so
I
important.
find it hard to search. The fields don't correlate, that you
Yeah.
can't acreage.
Yeah, they're not a direct.
I think
The
at this
air-
point, if Lexington, Northern, and Louisville would get together and just have one MLS with all the same
Platform.
fields, it would smooth things out a lot.
If we just get the rest of the state to join us, we'd have a,
The executive officers don't like that idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they lose out on the money if they have to combine them. Then somebody's job goes away, most likely.
The executive officer, the gatekeeper. So,
Oh, but my thing is, and what I was sharing with this group that just ended for this week is, you know, a lot of people we're trained and we tell these new agents, you know, to get on, do your market research, look at your MLS every day. Well, I mean, you guys probably notice this, that if you get on, you know, while you're having your coffee in the morning, what says is new and active and all that by 10 a.m. is not the same right now, right? Because
Right.
things haven't been updated. People haven't recorded their pendings yet. They haven't put in their new listings for the day yet and all that. So what I was telling these newer agents to do was to start on the Facebook Marketplace and on Zillow, looking at the for sale by owners, the stuff that we aren't going to see in the MLS, and giving it time to update so that by 10, 11 noon, the stuff that's in there hopefully has cycled over and is updated, so that I'm always looking at the most accurate information, because there's nothing to me that is more annoying than looking at something and then calling somebody to talk about it and find out when I go to set up the showing, it's already pending. Well, it doesn't show it's pending yet at 8 a.m. Right. So, I'm trying to train agents a little bit differently, but I'd love your thoughts on that, of what is your routine for looking at, the data and what's going on in your market, especially right now, as fast as things are moving.
Me?
like,
And
most
I-
people have hot sheets coming in every day, and
Well, that comes out like 3 a.m. So I'll check that.
I mean, I
And then
check
usually
all the time, and then I have so many
Yeah.
safe searches for my clients that
Yeah.
it emails me and my client every time a house comes up. So I'm constantly,
and when you log into Flex, there's the menu that's on your dashboard that allows you to set up your own searches throughout the day. So if you want a hot
Right.
sheet for Bullitt, Jefferson.
Yeah.
It keeps up, even though you don't get an email, you can check it any point of the day.
Mhm.
Right.
But like today being Monday, right? So a lot of companies, we have Huff up here, or something else down there. Rector Hayden, is that where you down in your
It's
market?
feminine.
It's the same company, right? And Simmons,
Is
yeah.
that who you're with?
No.
No.
But
Yeah.
they're up in this area, right? So,
Right.
but what I know is that none of them, because they do everything through their office admins, so
Right.
anything that happens over the weekend isn't recorded Monday morning. That stuff isn't going to show up until after lunch. So any of their listings that have gone pending, any new listings that they have, are not going to show up on Monday until the afternoon, because they go through and they mark things pending first, any contracts they got accepted, and then they go in and put in their listings. Well, they're the biggest company in the Northern Kentucky market. I mean, Keller Williams is right
most
there.
agents do their own here.
So, but they're not the only one though that I've found. Is there are several other companies
Yeah.
that they do everything like daily, right? So, Keller Williams agents, EXP agents, some independent brokerages, a lot of those people are doing it all themselves. But some of those bigger companies, or some of the mom and pop type
Legacy
companies, they're doing it all in batches. And so, with this market, I mean, you have things that go pending within hours of going live, right? And so I'm looking at stuff on Sunday, not yesterday, Sunday, because it was Easter and I didn't work yesterday. But a lot of times on Sunday that went live on Friday, and you try and set up a showing and it's declined. And you can't reach the agent. They don't answer their phone. They don't answer a text message. And so you finally get a hold of somebody on Monday and it's like, well, why did you decline our show? Oh, well, it went pending Friday night.
Well, what I understand is, why don't they go into showing time and just black all those out? Like, if you just black out everything, people are going to get the message.
So something. I mean, you can change the comments, especially in Flex. You can change the comments
my
on the
thing.
app on your phone.
Agents
Right?
just don't. Yeah, to me, that's part of communicating. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Mhm.
I've not had that I'm aware of.
For the most part around here, some of the old companies that used to do it that way, they still do it because they don't know how to tell their agents they won't do it. But for the most part, the newer companies all have their agents doing, because it's a little clearer and a little easier than going back and forth with 12 emails on what the comments should say or what this should do. Or so if you can do an email, you can do an update of MLS.
Mhm. Yeah. But I know with Huff, I was there when I first started in real estate.
Yeah.
They don't give the agents permission to change listing information themselves.
Right.
So I mean, that's
how they've
again
always done it.
the largest brokerage in this market, and you can't set your own listings pending. You have to have either a broker or one of the admins in the office do that. Well, that's
But
a
I
huge
can guarantee if it's listed on a Friday night, they have a way to get it on Slack.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it gets out to their agents.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And that's why they do it that way. I mean, there's more than just that they don't want the agents doing it. They know that they can do it internally, legally, and then get it out late Monday afternoon if it doesn't sell over the weekend as a inside sale.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about the internal sales side of it, but that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Amy, you were saying something, but we couldn't hear you there.
I mean, if we list a house and put a sign up or do any kind of marketing, we have to have it in Flex within 24 hours.
24 hours.
Business days. So you can put a sign up Friday at 5:30 and not have it in the MLS until Monday at 5 o'clock.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a.
Yeah. Now it can hit all the internal intranets, sent out email to agents in the office. It's the same ones that always have the clients that want exclusive only to their brokerage. Because we always get asked that every week from everybody that lists. Can I just have you deal with it? So it's the same agents. So
Shady.
So how does your company do that in terms of the internal listings before they're live? Do you share that? You don't?
No, we get it on the MLS as fast as possible and hope to get the best price for the seller.
Yeah.
Which again, that doesn't seem like rocket science, but that makes a lot of sense, right?
It's our fiduciary.
Yes, I love that word. It's amazing how many people don't know what that word means.
It's amazing what a lot of people don't know.
And that's what we're trying to do here through Trop for a lot of these agents, right? But yeah, I mean, sure, my company, now we have, I think there's 80 of us in this area. And so sure, I can put it in an internal group and maybe get 3 or 4 people to have clients, but there's 1,700 agents in the Northern Kentucky market.
Right.
You're telling me that there's only 3 or 4 people that are going to be able to compete for this property, right? So, it seems great on paper, and I guess it's great for a company's bottom line. But at the end of the day, how do I look at my seller and say, oh, we got you a good price and we got you some offers, but we could have gotten more. I mean, especially right now,
particularly
right?
in this market, I was going to say, particularly in this market, market's kind of changing. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely disservicing your seller if you're waiting 2 to 3 days to get it to the public.
So how about this thought in current market environment, how are you finding the data to help support comps for pricing? Because that's something that I'm hearing a lot of people talk about as well, of how do we price this when things are getting 20 offers on it and you might get $50,000 or $100,000 over in certain cases, but it still has to appraise. So what are you guys looking at to help you determine that value right now? Anything different than normal?
From a listing side?
Yeah.
From a listing side. Because I have buyers who are like, I mean, once they're in the market a little bit, they realize they have to come in strong.
Strong.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that.
You still get those brand new ones that come in and want to offer 5,000 under.
Yeah.
The first time it's like, oh yeah, I'll give you one of those and you're going to learn.
I just tell them I'm pretty, I don't want to waste my time or theirs, but as far as comps, and this was we have a forum, a realtor forum on Facebook, and that was somebody talking about, like, I just had an appraisal problem on this house 2 months ago. And now that this one sale happened, it raised the value of all the houses in the neighborhood by, X amount of dollars. And she said, now my seller is upset because, now he feels like he could have gotten more. And an agent chimed in and said, well, that's the gamble of it. The appraisal is, I always say it's like the stock market, right? It goes up and down our values. Cause even when you do a CMA 2 months ago, it changes.
But I think certain, like, we even had a lot under 250, 230, but I'm seeing more come in, and those ranges are from the 170s now to the 220s, 230, with a lot under 200 actually in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I've got one, right, and one on my street just way sold under for $20-some thousand. I know they did. When probably 25,000. Anyway, so I think that's so some of the price ranges are going to get a little trickier, I think, to comp as interest rates have risen. Some buyers are getting a little hesitant. Some are still going to be strong because inventory is extremely low.
Right.
But some of these homes are. I'll give you an example. This house within 2 streets, one within a 50 square feet difference, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. One sold for 175, one sold for is going to sell for 220 plus. That's a big range, and I'm trying to find that middle ground for my seller. So, and then there's some others in their area that kind of support 200, maybe even potentially a little lower, that have just come on the market, and they're not moving quick yet. Right. So I don't know. I feel like the market is beginning to. I think we're peaked. It's how much are we we're not going to bottom for sure, but how much are we going to adjust a little bit here and there. And I think some price ranges are going to adjust some. And then I think we're in the middle of adjusting some of these ranges.
Yeah.
At least in our market.
Oh, I definitely see that. I have one that I listed 3 weeks ago that when I did the CMA the week before and showed it to him, I said, I can give you a range that's $40,000 right now. I think we should go in the middle. And I think we'll probably get higher, but I'm afraid if we go higher, you're not going to have the interest at the moment. And that's what we did. Is we went at 190 or 290, excuse me, and we ended up at 300. All the offers were at 300.
Well, that's where I want to put this one at 210, hoping we're going to be within a 5 to 10 range on it. Either way.
That sheet with 3 values with a range. And then if the market's hot and the house is cute and, you know, I'll do a plus sign at the end of my net sheet. I'm like, it might go for more. And
Yeah.
of course, I've always 4 hours to respond to an offer, but here we see a lot of houses coming on during the week, Thursday, Friday, doing an open house and then looking at offers on Monday, Tuesday. And then you get your highest and best offer once you're out in the public. But yeah,
I saw one list today that I'm going to show Friday, and I think she's on the board with you, Andy. Anyway, she listed it. It's over in Forest Ridge. She listed it today and said, "In leisurely show all week long. We'll review them
I saw that.
Monday." Oh, you know, I like
Who
how
was
you
that?
said that. Like,
As
you
a
just
vacant,
gotta
like,
take the
don't
stress out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Who wasn't?
it
Judith.
was Judy Parks. Went, oh, who was
John-
it? Johnson.
No, I think it was Judith.
Yeah. Yeah,
On Farmview.
Farmview. Yeah, but I like how she just worded that. Like it's there. We're probably gonna get multiple offers, but we're not gonna stress everybody out about it.
Yeah.
That was a different approach than we've been seeing.
So with that approach, obviously it's not your client, but would you think that there could be a concern there that people that might see it the beginning of the week might either find something else or say, okay, well, we don't want to wait all the way until Friday because, you know, there might be multiple offers, but we don't want to compete against 100, but we're okay competing against 5.
Yeah. And some agents, even though they review offers, they accept before, because they always say seller reserves the right. So
Yeah.
go it
Well,
and offer in and tell people, I mean, you may not get, I mean, just it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't run into too. I mean, I've seen a couple people, and I do think if you're going to do that, you need to say up front. We may take beforehand. If you don't, you're going to be in the doghouse. But
Yeah,
but
because
that
it's
was
such a
very-
transitionary time right now where it's still high and the inventory is still low. But, you know, we're seeing the same thing where stuff that in January, everything was gone in a day. Now it's still there after a week.
Right.
I think when you do that time frame, you need to be able to have an open house before you do it, just because you can only get so many showings in. And the Sunday evening ones, I don't think you're not going to get the best offers. I think wait until Monday, you can get a pre-approval letter and you can get out all the ducks in a row. So you get strong offers that you can look at.
Well,
That's what I'm doing with my next one. The one I'm going to list this week or next is we're going to do that Thursday launch, Friday show, Saturday show, Sunday open house, and then review and respond on Monday. And the buy,
Especially with lake season starting right now, people are out of town on the weekends. You're missing
Yeah.
out on your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy, what were you going to say?
Oh, I think people need to sleep on it. When you do the open house and then your offers in by 6, some people, they're so knee jerky but then they sleep on it and they're like, you know, I want people to sleep on it because I don't want buyer's remorse. I don't want.
Well, and 2, if they
Oh.
come to your open house, say they come at 3:30, it's really hard for them to get everything done together, not feel the pressure. And then they're calling you, can we have till 7? Well, you told everybody else 6. So what are you going to do now?
I like to think about the agent also. Like they may have something to do Sunday evening besides maybe sit with somebody to write an offer. I mean,
Right.
but I think other agents appreciate it, and you can get more business from other agents that way. I think that's something we've really lost over the last couple of years is the cooperation. It's cutthroat, and it's not the same, you know, as far as looking to the future that, you know, I want to have a cross sell with you again later. So, you know, you may get 22 offers and you accept one, but did you make the other 21 mad? So
And I think there's always going to be a group of we're going to be like that. At CE last week, some of this came up in class. And I think a lot of agents are just fed up with the frustration of that mentality. And people are going to start, I think, best they can, you know, push back. And I think I hope we're going to see a change a little bit. So, but there'll always be some that push it.
It's hard because, again, if you've got 20 offers and you're trying to communicate to everybody, it's possible that somebody could get missed, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's legitimate. But at the same time, my job as the listing agent is to keep track of all this, make sure that everything's presented to my seller, right? Communicate back. I don't know what the rules are there, but here in Northern Kentucky, we are required to provide a written response to every offer that it was received and presented.
That's
Right.
a state law, state
Yeah,
regulation
okay.
now.
So, well, I thought it was, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, but again, I don't ever have that happen when I'm writing offers.
No.
I make sure that I'm doing that on the listing side, but I don't ever have that happen when I'm writing. I mean, maybe there's a few agents that have been in the business 20, 30 years that they're doing that. And most of the time they're calling. Those agents, the seasoned agents, are calling. It's not even a text or an email. It's a phone call. Hey,
Right.
Kevin, appreciate your offer. They chose somebody else. So that's tough too. But again, this market, you guys have all been around enough that this market is not the way the market's going to be forever.
No.
Right. And I mean, I do not believe, based on what I'm seeing and reading, that it's going to be a crash. I wasn't here in 08, I'll give you that, but I don't think it's going to be like that because the fundamentals are very different. But we are definitely seeing it start to swing downward. And on the listing side, staying ahead of that so that you don't end up with a listing that's listed on the high end and now is $50,000 overpriced. That's important too.
Right.
Because then you end up with some very mad sellers.
Well,
Market will think something's wrong with it. So
I had this strange situation where I wrote the one that closed 155, wrote it for 162. I talked to this a couple weeks ago. That thing, the listing agent called back and said, "Can you reduce it to 155?" I've never had that happen. I'm like, what? I was like, I really think so and so this is worth probably 160. You probably get an appraisal. And so we want to be a little above that to show that we really do want this house. I said, "How many offers do you have?" And she said 4 or 5 at that point. And she said, "But Bobby, if you write it, my seller's going to think I underpriced her house. And then she's going to get mad at me." And she goes, "I just don't think we can." I said, "Do you really not believe we can appraise more than 155? Because I do." I said, "I'm willing to talk to my buyer about this. But I also get in my mind that, I know when I've gotten offers that are way too high and there's multiple, I don't want those offers because you're just trying to buy the right to reduce it through appraisal."
Right.
That wasn't this situation. And so I said, if my buyer agrees, you better call me if we need to represent or anything changes, because I will be fired up. And I've worked as agent enough to know, and I trusted her that she would do that. So we did. We got it for 155. It appraised at 160. Yeah, that's a problem for that agent. So, I think the seller figured it out because they got mad and they went and bought another house with somebody else. I know. I saw your face, Amy. I think she figured it out. I don't know that she knows the appraisal. Well, I know she doesn't know the appraisal because we didn't tell anybody. But that's a big problem. So I don't know why I was telling that story from the beginning now, but
interesting. You can just take advantage of an agent that isn't.
In this market, that may be the only person who's gotten a call saying, "Hey, can you reduce by $7,500?"
Yeah, that's an interesting. That's
crazy.
Call.
Yeah. It made me a little nervous, but at the end of the day, he got the house. They got the house. But that's a really bad situation for that seller's agent. First seller finds out, that's a problem. So, yeah.
We are seeing we're seeing appraisals become more of an issue. Whereas, 6 months ago, everything just kind of seemed to get rubber stamped unless it was really, really crazy. We're seeing some things that are coming back, $5,000, $10,000 under. Are you guys seeing that there as well?
I had one come in 10,000 under, and we're going to close it tomorrow, sometime this week. I hope.
That
But
one's
yeah, it
still
was 10,000 under, and I was surprised that I felt like it was being fine, but everybody agreed to it, moved on. So, I'm curious because I was listening to a news program while I was driving over the week, and was it NAR or somebody's predicting that housing will nationwide cap next year and start a little decline, but that rents are going to keep upticking regularly for years to come.
Because of
that's
the lack of housing.
Lack of housing. The housing is not, our housing situation is not going to change.
Well, and
But
interest
again, you hear
rates are
people talk
going
about a
up.
recession, and like some of these things are so, you can't really know what it's going to hold. I mean, I think we're in that kind of market where there's a lot of uneasiness about the future,
Right.
and you don't really, I mean, anything could change any given month.
Absolutely.
I think some of the younger generations are thinking the transitory, where you can rent and then just leave and go somewhere else where another job is or another location easy.
Yeah.
So,
But again, if there's nothing to live in, I mean, there's
Yeah.
stuff here that used to be $800, $1,000 a month for rent. I only have one client that I do rentals for. That's because he buys the properties with me as investment. And so I handle his rentals. We rented the top level of his 3-family, 875 square feet. We rented that thing for $1,000.
Yeah.
1 bedroom. I couldn't believe it, but we had 32 applications on it
How much did you say?
for $1,000
For
for
$1,000.
800 and I think it's 75 or 72, something like that, square feet. I mean, it's tiny.
Oh, I've got a 1-bedroom condo that it should probably be around 800 on it. How can I get 1,000?
People just have,
And it's on-street parking. Like there's no designated parking. There's
Oh,
just
wow.
it's on the street, busy street in downtown Newport. So a lot of times you're parking, half
know
a
where
block
you're at.
away or more. And people were lined up to come and see it and turn in applications. I did not believe it.
Well, this buyer I was telling you about, him and his wife live out in Shepherdsville. Ain't anyone know this area behind the Best Western, these apartments that were built in maybe the early 80s-ish, give or take. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, not new. They were paying $800 some dollars. Their rent is going up to $1,150. I think it was a $300 increase per month. They just got rebought by a new investor.
Mhm.
And they weren't going to buy till summer or fall. And then he called me and said what his rent was going to. And I said, well, let's go on and see what it looks like. Let's go on and look at buying. And but yeah, that's that type of increase you're seeing, $300 and $400
Mhm.
regularly in the last. I mean, this isn't the only one I've heard about. There's a lot of people who are jumping $300 and $400 like this season.
Yeah. But again, there's the need for it. And at some point, people have to have a place to live. And
Right.
there's not usually the cap on how much you can rent like there is on getting a loan, right?
Right.
So they're going to pay
Market
it,
is.
but again, like my guy, he's requiring, because he's concerned about people trying to skip out on the rent, he's requiring a first month, a last month, and a security deposit.
Mhm.
And I had people saying, well, that's an awful lot. You're moving in, you've got to pay almost $4,700 with pet deposit as well, just to move in. He's like, yeah, but he doesn't want to have to try and get you out in 3 months because you say, oh, I don't really have enough to pay $1,000 a month for this apartment that should only be 700 really.
Right.
It's a difficult place. But yeah, even as the market cools in terms of buying, it seems like the rental side of it is going to stay very, very high because there still is no inventory.
But I think once interest rates, I think there's a shock for buyers because there's a certain generations that haven't really known much above 5%. And there's a little bit of a shock factor there. And my thought is if things kind of level out with interest rates and that people can absorb that understanding, it's still better to buy than to rent. Some of those buyers are going to hold off, will come back into the market maybe 6 months, 9 months, a year.
did you see the 32 applications?
Yeah, I processed all of them. Mhm.
I wonder, are they not buyers for some reason? They just, obviously they can't. They don't have
Yeah, a
financial.
lot of those were people with lower credit scores. Like they were the highest credit score I think that came out because he has me. I hate running people's credit, but he has me do all that for him. And so the highest credit score I think I saw was a 620 out of all of those.
Oh, wow.
So it's just an education, like people just don't understand
Right.
credit.
Well, what I did is I had a conversation with a lot of them of, okay, if you can afford this much a month, but your credit's here, would you like to talk to a credit counselor or credit repair person? Because I have people that work with folks with lower credit. You're paying your bills, you've got money, you've got income, your credit sucks. And I don't dive into all of that, but what I'm looking at on here is usually because of a medical debt or something, they're 25 years old and something that they didn't pay off when they were 18. It's like, let's get this taken care of.
Just mind-boggling that either the generation doesn't know how to budget, they don't understand credit, we're not teaching it.
Or we're not teaching it.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
they want instant.
Or I was just
Similar
wondering,
to their dorms or their parents' house, they don't want to do the step up. I mean, they want the pool, the community center, the nice granite countertops, but you don't get that as a 20-year-old.
Oh yeah,
but they want it.
And I've had that conversation with people too, that they're 22, 23 years old, and I want this, like my mom and dad have. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I mean, you got a nice job, you're making $45,000 a year in your first career. Congratulations. Your parents have been working for 30 years already. You're not buying this. You have
I
to
might as
work.
well just stay in their basement.
Well, some of them are, aren't they?
Well, it'd be better for them to save up and do that and then purchase, because it's going to be scary because they can't ever get ahead of it.
And that's part of that education part that comes back to, I think, our fiduciary duty to be having these conversations with these folks, right? And okay, yes, you're interested in buying. Yes, I'd love to help you. I don't know if you've ever done this, but I've actually had conversations with people where I've said, I can help you now, but I don't believe it's in your best interest now. If you will wait 4 months, 6 months, if you'll save some money, if you'll work with the credit person or just work with the lender, because a lot of lenders will do some level of credit, right?
Yes, they'll give you some basics.
Let's come back in the fall, like right now, let's come back in the fall and have this conversation again. You're going to be in a better position, right? I mean, that to me, that's part of our job, but that's also in terms of knowing the market, knowing how I can best help them is knowing the market, right? Because if you're approved, I have 3 people right now that lenders gave to me that are USDA $100,000. One of them's VA $100,000. Like, there's nothing. But they don't want to talk about waiting 6 months. They want to look at everything right now.
Yeah.
And we're not finding it.
Yeah, it is deflating for the buyers to get all excited to get pre-approved, and you're like, sorry, there's no houses.
The buyers that a year or 2 ago, like, I can buy a $300,000 house. That's not nice enough, and now that same house is $400,000.
Yeah, those are
$300,000 is way less than they could have a year ago.
Yeah.
And now they don't know what to do. There's nowhere for them to go other than rent.
Yeah.
I think those are the most shocked and the most frustrated people, is because they waited too long, and they've lost their equity increase.
Yeah. And even people now that are saying, well, I'm going to wait until the rates come back down.
That's not going for a while.
I mean, again, paying attention to the market, if the Fed's planning on raising the rate another 5 or 6 times this year, the likelihood of that happening in the next 12 months is very, very small.
Yeah, I'm curious how much.
We'll ever see it that low again.
What'd you say, Andy?
I don't think we'll see it that low again.
Oh no,
probably not in my lifetime, at least.
If you had bought when the rate was as low as it was before the price started increasing, that was probably your best buying time ever. And it's
yeah, I am curious how much the Fed is going to continue to increase, because we're already at 5%. I hope it didn't get too crazy, but I think there are some events that are so outside our control that are going to dictate a lot of this.
Yeah. But I mean, listening to the folks at Keeping Current Matters, listening to NAR, listening to the Realology or whoever they are, that group, most of them are saying somewhere between 6.5% and 7.5% by the end of the year, which again, historically is what I would consider average. I mean, 8% is kind of average over the last 50 years. So, but when you're used to, I mean, I had one person January of last year close at 1.8%.
Yeah.
So, that doesn't seem very nice when you were talking about 2% or whatever.
Well, and then think about what that means for the market for those who have bought in the last 3 years. Are you willing to give up your interest rate to buy a house that's increased in value and rates that are up? So we've got a generation of older buyers that don't want to sell because they really can't sell and buy well.
Mhm.
And you've got another group of buyers who have bought in three years with the lowest rates in history, and they're not going to give that up that easily.
Right. Which then does what? It creates more of an inventory
More
shortage. in the
demand,
market.
right? And new construction can't even keep up.
Yeah.
And even want to keep some places, but I mean, I think our dynamics are really get a little different. So
It means we're going to have to be more and more creative as time goes on.
Well,
Working with,
if you think back 10 years ago or 15 years ago, houses that are selling for 200 were 90 then, 100.
mhm.
So, and that's at some point they just have to get in wherever they
Right.
can get in,
That's
or
right.
else I mean, it's not going backwards.
Mhm.
yeah, I bought my house in 2015 for $124,000. I just had it appraised, looking at a HELOC, so what we can do with the kitchen for my wife, and it appraised for 235
Yeah.
in 7 years. It's basically almost doubled in value. I was
Not the same.
it's nuts.
Yeah. Most here are the same. I mean, it's crazy.
But that's what we're seeing, and so it's important. Obviously, you guys know this and understand this, that we stay on top of this and have this kind of information handy to be able to share. Because there are people that they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe that rates aren't going to come back down. They don't want to believe that the inventory is that low. They just don't want to believe it.
Well, and people ask me about pricing and when will prices come down. I'm like, well, when did California ever come back down? When did pockets of Virginia and New York ever come back down?
Mhm.
Bottom line is some things don't come back down. And we may be in a national shift where it's not going to drop all that dramatically because the pricing is going to stay for, I mean, with such low inventory, what are the fundamentals that's going to change pricing of homes? It's not there.
Right.
You've got appraisals after appraisals showing values. Now, if we get a major recession, maybe that resets some things, but
Mhm. But I don't have that crystal ball to know that.
right. So, but people are predicting that. And so I was like, I tell people, you don't know,
Yeah.
But what happened after the last recession, right? The housing it's within 3 or 4 years, went on this track that's not stopped since.
Right.
So let the recession come and reset us again, even higher. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, you want to close us out? You were going to say something there.
Oh, I just feel like our market, we're right outside of Jefferson County,
Mhm.
and going out of Jefferson, it's always been that way. We have good schools. I feel like we've always been insulated, and we will be. I think we're going to be fine. And
Oh, yeah. When you look at the Louisville area, what's coming in around the interstate structure, the UPS, Ford, the new plant in Cecilia, I mean, this area is
people are still
economic.
moving out,
Yes.
forcing, dying.
And built this new ramp for the business park, right?
Yeah, I want to cleanse some of the. I don't know. I feel like there's just a flood of new agents that maybe don't have best interest.
Yeah. So,
And like some of that out.
so do you know the stat for that right now?
The
We
income.
have over 5,000 agents and 1,000 listings.
Yeah. So in November of last year, there was 1.7 agents for every home that was actively listed in America. In March of this year, there was 7 agents for every home that was actively listed.
There's 5.5 here.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just everybody saw the prices going up. They saw the values going up. They saw the equity, and everybody thought, oh, I can go out there and do this. And it's created even more of a problem on the agent side because, sure, they get 1 or 2 from their sphere, which is, I mean, that's fantastic. But then what do?
They muck it up.
And those are the people that are hard to work with, hard to get a hold of, don't provide information.
They become premier agents on Zillow.
Some of them do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey guys, I don't want to hold you. Great conversation, great insights. I appreciate it. And I guess I will see you next week unless there's anything else you need from me.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Devin.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks.